From the brutal butchering of defenseless infants during night one on the job, to the galaxy's cutest little legend chowing down on the next generation. Lucas and now Disney may have largely forged this much-loved universe for the younger generation, but you can bet they successfully sent a few of them to therapy along the way on the back of these moments. Gareth here from What Culture Star Wars, and here are the 10 most disturbing Star Wars moments. Buckle up, folks. Number 10. Luke's bizarre milking moment. Easing into this list with an entry that doesn't actually involve a shocking execution or the massacring of an infant, but we'll get there. Here's that time fans spent 2 years eagerly anticipating the return of arguably the most famous Jedi in pop culture history, only to be left recoiling in their seats at his hermit habits in The Last Jedi. With Rey desperate to recruit the iconic Jedi Master to the Resistance's cause, the Force-sensitive soul finds herself being dragged around Acto by the disenchanted space wizard as he went about his daily errands, leading to one of the most bizarre occurrences the sequels had to offer, and my goodness is that saying something. Squeezing the teat of a docile Tharless siren on the coastline, Luke proceeds to milk said creature before taking a hearty swig of the hard-earned green milk he'd just harvested from the oddly laid-back entity. From Skywalker and the animal's creepy eye contact with Rey as this whole exchange goes down, to the touch-too-long amount of screen time afforded to the aforementioned milkmaker. This all made for a bit of a peculiar minute or so of movie magic, it's gotta be said. Number 9. Grogu munches some eggs. After securing his spot in the hearts of Star Wars fanatics and casual viewers the world over with his various gurgles and memeable exploits over the course of the first season of The Mandalorian, folks simply could not wait to see what little green Grogu would be getting up to in late 2020's follow-up season. The answer at times, though, made for a rather conflicting viewing experience. While Baby Yoda could still be relied upon to deliver the cuteness and jaw-dropping force feats when needed, he also simply could not help himself when faced with the precious spawn of a certain frog lady during Chapter 10, The Passenger. Chowing down on the unborn offspring of the innocent mother, the internet was understandably somewhat split over what they were watching unfold. Sure, Grogu was merely a child satiating his growing appetite, but it's hard to erase the visual of a little green legend swallowing frog lady eggs like M&Ms in a hurry. Karma more than bit the tyke on the ass when it came to munching on another species' eggs in that very same episode, mind. Number 8. The Clone Wars moment too dark for Cartoon Network. Despite taking place within the often colourful and vibrant landscape that is the animated corner of the Star Wars universe, one particularly savage act of violence turned out to be a little too extreme for TV. By the time the Clone Wars Season 5 episode by the name of Eminence eventually reared its head, brought about by none other than Savage Opress, Maul's hulking brother. On the back of an attempt to convince the Black Sun to join the Shadow Collective, the latter's iconic lightsaber is ultimately used by the former to decapitate all sat at the table who refused to play ball with Maul. Sure enough, Cartoon Network were a touch horrified by the sight of multiple smoking animated leaders without their heads, cutting the unsettling imagery from the episode when it originally aired on their channel. But fear not, the gruesome culling of this counter was still very much left intact when it came to the director's cut made available on Blu-ray and DVD. What a world! Number 7. A Duchess falls. Sticking with the Clone Wars penchant for pushing the limits when it came to thoroughly disturbing and shocking its younger audience, few deaths held a candle to the one experienced by pacifist Mandalorian ruler Duchess Satine Kryze. In terms of sheer savageness during Season 5's 16th episode, The Lawless, determined to push his old nemesis Kenobi over the edge and into the dark side by provoking his hatred and anger within. Maul takes to force-choking Obi-Wan's beloved within the throne room on Mandalore before his very eyes. Upon finally refusing to opt for the weak way out though, Kenobi is then forced to helplessly witness Satine be emphatically impaled by the Darksaber. The lingering shot on Kryze's desperate face as she lets loose a few last agonizing breaths, the close-up on Kenobi's devastated mug as the realization of this excruciating scenario washes over him. It all makes for one of the most daring and distressing executions you'll find within this space-age saga. When it comes to delivering the emotional haymakers, Clone Wars simply refused to pull any of its animated punches. Number 6. The new and unimproved Emperor 2.0. If you thought the fearsome Ian McDiarmid's portrayal of the Dark Lord of the Sith in the prequel and original Star Wars trilogies was enough to leave your skin a-crawling, Rise of Skywalker watched those various wrinkly showings and emphatically declared, "Hold my green milk! Do it!" In the wake of resurrecting himself following on from his supposed death via transferring his vessel into a clone substitute carcass, as you do, the Emperor cuts a deeply distressing figure from the moment he's officially introduced to Kylo Ren, as he's freakishly hooked into a huge metal apparatus, of course. only becoming increasingly creepier as this apparent 12A of a Star Wars caper unfolds. Zombie-esque Emperor 2.0 also experiences arguably one of the most chilling final moments ever gifted a big bad within the galaxy far, far away to date. Going full Mace Windu in her attempts to stave off her grandpap's Force lightning, Sidious experiences far worse than a few prequel scorch marks this time around. The sight of his face very much blistering off his skull all but confirms that McDiarmid won't be along for the ride again anytime soon. Probably. Number 5. So many decapitations. While already touched upon slightly with the Clone Wars series' openness to indulge in the detaching of skull from torso, Star Wars doesn't half have a habit of making their various characters lose their heads on our screens. And though some folks out there may have grown a touch desensitized to the sight of an alien or human getting their noggin sliced off by various forms of lightsaber over the years, that still doesn't change the fact that this violent way of ending a conflict is about as grisly as they come. Take your pick from Mace Windu's slicing off of Jango Fett's Mandalorian helmet in front of his boy before his lifeless face slipped out mid-fall, to Count Dooku's disturbing skull roll after falling victim to Anakin Skywalker's gradual descent into darkness. Brutal decapitations are all part of the truly traumatic family Star Wars experience. Number 4. Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru get charred on Tatooine. At a glance, the U rating slapped onto George Lucas's first ever cinematic space opera adventure seemed innocent enough. But when you remember that this is also the same family flick that comes equipped with a shot of Luke Skywalker's adopted parents' charred remains lying static outside of their ravaged Tatooine home pretty early on, said certificate becomes a little more questionable. Even some 4 decades on from A New Hope's release, the fried skeletons of Uncle Ben and Aunt Beru that were left in the wake of interacting with a despicable stormtrooper search team that clearly were not in the mood for a chat are enough to elicit genuine audible gasps. If you'd forgotten what was waiting around the corner as Luke returned home from his supposed chores, of course. Sure, the late 70s were very much a different moment in time entirely, but it's still incredible how this seriously graphic visual somehow found its way past censors to the point of branding the entire viewing experience suitable for all the family. Number 3. Luke and Leia share a smooch. An innocent peck on the cheek as the two prepare to risk life and limb to zip wire from one Death Star platform to another is one thing. Very much locking lips in a steamy attempt to conjure up some jealousy is something else entirely, and an act that left most of the galaxy gagging in their cinema seats the minute a certain revelation came to light. Despite what George Lucas would have you believe, Leia Organa wasn't always planned to be revealed as Luke Skywalker's twin sister, with Lee Brackett's first draft of The Empire Strikes Back hinting at plans to have Luke search for his sibling in Lucas's proposed sequel trilogy. Those plans would ultimately be scrapped in favor of the jaw-dropping Leia reveal in Return of the Jedi, of course, but it was evident from Lucas's willingness to have the two lock lips that he still wasn't entirely set on this twist coming to fruition at the time of Empire. Either that, or he simply has no issue with a little light incest being sprinkled into his family features. Whatever way you slice it, history still shows that these two leading lights got way too close for anyone's comfort. Number 2. Darth Vader is fried alive. It was always going to take some seriously horrific battle wounds to leave one of the most powerful Jedi ever to walk the galaxy, relying on an excessively loud mechanical suit for the rest of his days. And sure enough, the fiery conclusion of Anakin Skywalker and Obi-Wan Kenobi's Mustafar clash for the ages left little doubt in anyone's mind that this chosen one was in need of some serious TLC post-high ground cock-up. Refusing to shy away from the gory reality Hayden Christensen's once handsome-as-all-hell Jedi Knight now found himself in, as he lay in defeat. The uncompromising flames engulfing Skywalker as his blistered body flails in anguish makes for one of the most affecting visuals George Lucas has ever brought into being. And this comes from the same mind who charred up Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru, don't forget. The uncomfortable times only kept on coming too, as the mind behind the galaxy then committed to an extended shot of a scorched Vader squirming in agony on a surgical table, as the various cyborg elements of his eventual masked alter ego were coldly lodged into permanent place by medical bots. Number 1. Anakin butchers some younglings. Rewinding a touch from the fire-infused fate rapidly heading Anakin Skywalker's way in Revenge of the Sith, and to a moment that all but erased any drop of sympathy that remained for the eventual Darth Vader in one swift switching on of a lightsaber. Determined to showcase just how merciless and unwavering the newly turned Anakin had become in the wake of joining the side of Lord Sidious, George Lucas felt that the best way to hammer home this unsettling change in attitude was to have his focal point butcher a group of innocent younglings in the midst of the purging of the Jedi Temple, Sure, we don't actually witness the culling of innocence in all its horror on the big screen, despite a scene depicting the act actually being in the pipeline at one point, but the solitary flinch from a terrified Jedi initiate, as Skywalker's iconic saber is switched on, did enough to cement this moment as undoubtedly the most disturbing occurrence ever to grace a Star Wars showing. Don't let Ewan McGregor's quivering face fool you. This despicable development and the off-screen carnage that no doubt followed was as diabolical as it comes. And that's our moment. Know of any of the other most disturbing Star Wars moments we missed? Let us know all about them in the comment section right down below, and do not forget to like, share, and go and click on that subscribe button while you're at it. Also, if this kind of thing is your bag, then head on over to whatculture.com and find some more awesome articles just like the one this video you're watching right now is based on, and if only because this little Padawan over here wrote it. I've been Gareth from What Culture Star Wars. Thank you very much for clicking on this video today. May the Force be with you, and hopefully I will see you very, very soon. Bye bye!